Hey guys, it's Snowbiter, and this is a replay I had with the AT-15 on Kharkov. Since the 183 is going to be replaced in the next patch, and I'm guessing a lot of people will probably be trying to grind for it, I figured I would post a few replays as I grind through the line myself, because I think generally the tanks in the 183 line can be kind of frustrating and difficult to play, so I wanted to post a few replays and talk a bit about how I approach playing them. So this first replay is with the AT-15, which is the tier 8 in the line. And it's actually a tier 8 matchup here. I alluded to this in the last commentary I posted, but in my opinion, tier 8 gets some of the worst matchmaking out of any tier in the game. You're lucky if you get a top tier match, roughly 1 in every 10 games. And a lot of times that one top tier match is all tier 8s on each side, which can be kind of difficult to do much in as well. So that can make playing tier 8s really frustrating at times, and the AT-15 is already not a great tank, and a lot of times in higher tier matchups, it can be really difficult to have any impact with it. You've got great DPM, but 240 alpha is really low for a slow, non-turreted tank destroyer. And unless you're sniping at 400, 500 meters, most higher tier tanks are going to have no trouble hitting your weak points either, so your armor doesn't mean much in higher tier matchups as well. In a matchup like this, though, you actually have a chance to be more aggressive and use your DPM and bully tanks, because as long as you can hide the weak point on top of the tank, lower tiers are generally going to have trouble penning you, and at the very least, you have enough HP that you can afford to take a few hits. So, while I don't want to be overly aggressive, obviously, and get myself surrounded or stuck in a crossfire, I want to try to engage the enemy wherever I can and not sit back and play passively, because I want to be sure that I take advantage of this kind of matchup. The nice thing about Kharkov is it's a small map, so the lack of speed on the AT-15 isn't as much of an issue. But as I've talked about before, it's a bit hard to predict where people will go at the start of the game on this map. So while I know I probably want to play in the middle of the map somewhere, I also want to wait and see how my team and how the enemy team deploys, and then kind of react accordingly to that instead of just committing to a position at the start of the game. So initially I was thinking I would play around G5, kind of where that IS-3 is going, and watch that courtyard area around F5 or F6, but seeing the IS-3 actually push into that courtyard, I decided instead to go more toward F4 and watch that alley that curves kind of around the northwest of the courtyard, partly because I don't like pushing into that area. I think it's way too easy to get flanked if you go where that IS-3 is playing, especially in a non-turreted tank destroyer. But I also don't really want to follow the IS-3 because he's so much faster than me that if he keeps pushing ahead of me, then it makes it harder for me to engage the enemy. And he's probably going to push the enemy tanks back, so I'm going to be left with not that many opportunities to get shots off. So instead I decided to go to this position around F4. I saw that the Tiger II was playing in D7 or so, and figured that I could probably try to engage him and get some shots on him. And the nice thing about this spot is I can use this rubble pile to my right as a bit of cover to try to block my cupola so that the Tiger doesn't have any angles on my weak spots. And on top of that, you can see how I'm trying to constantly keep my tank angled and use the gun traverse to get shots off, because that allows me to expose as little of my tank as possible, and it just makes it even harder for the enemy tanks to potentially hit my weak spots. So I catch the Tiger II as he's trying to back up into cover. I was able to track him with that first shot, but unfortunately he repaired, and I wasn't quite able to adjust my aim enough to get that second tracking shot off, so he's back in cover. Then for some reason, the enemy Panther decides to cross in front of my gun, and I'm able to track him with that first shot, and with the rate of fire of the AT-15, I can easily keep him in place. And this is where the DPM of this tank really shines. Whenever you can get somebody tracked in place and constantly fire, you can see just how good this tank's DPM is. I was able to take that Panther out really quickly. Now, my team is already in trouble because, looking at the minimap, the enemy has completely pushed through the east of the map. So I decided to turn around. I was hoping to maybe get some shots on tanks that might be going south along the 6 or 7 line. I was a little indecisive here, though, because I had wanted to try to support that KV-85 on my team, but I also didn't want to expose myself to getting flanked. And then when I do start moving south here, I quickly realized that I'm just going to get myself surrounded. And it also looked like the Wheezy 132 is going to rush me, so I back up to try to get closer to hard cover so I can prevent him from circling me. I put one shot into him as he rounds the corner, but obviously he's way more mobile than me, so he has no trouble getting to my side. Now, I want to use this building to prevent him from getting around me, but I got stuck a couple times as I was trying to traverse, which allows him to get another shot into me, although I am able to put one into him in return. He ends up crossing back to my other side, and even though he gets another shot into me there, and I lost a lot of HP in that engagement, I'm at least in a position now where I can keep everything in front of me. So the enemy JT-88 is on cap, and I wanted to try to get a reset to give myself more time. I decided to take a pretty big risk here and quickly reload HE because I didn't think I could pen him the way he was angled before. But unfortunately, the HE somehow bounces, and at the same time the T-29 pushes out and engages me, although he does only hit my track for no damage. Then the heavy tank number 6 pushes out as well, and since he's lower HP, I decided to just focus him out instead of continuing to shoot the T-29. The T-29 pokes out again, and I was trying to wiggle my tank, but this time he hits my cupola, so now I'm a one-shot, but I'm able to keep him tracked in place, and the Bulldog on my team is shooting him from the side, and thankfully he gets the kill before the T-29 can reload again. Now, the JT-88 is still on cap, and I want to go back and deal with him, but I saw on the minimap that it looked like the Wheezy-132 was rushing toward me again, so I turn around to deal with him, and I pre-aim where I'm expecting him to push. I get distracted though because that Wheezy-131 gets spotted in E5, and then the moment I turn away, the 132 rushes out toward me, so when I re-peek I make sure to track him because obviously if he gets around me, then I'm dead. Fortunately, my tracking shot slows him down though, and I'm able to reload in time to get the kill shot. Then I can use this heavy tank wreck as cover, and I peek out and get the kill on the Wheezy-131 as well. Now, finally I can turn around and deal with that JT-88. And it looks like the Hellcat on my team actually managed to get a reset, which probably saved the game for our team because I don't know that I would have gotten back in time otherwise. Anyway, I peek out and the JT-88 is focused on the Hellcat, so I put one shot into his side. And the Hellcat gets killed there, but he managed to distract the JT for just long enough, which allows me to get the kill shot. And now, all of a sudden, this game has turned into a 2v2, where it's me and the Bulldog on my team, and we're both at really low HP versus a low HP Challenger and a tier 6 Sturv who's basically at full health, I think. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do here, and I'm thinking that even though the two enemy tanks left have more HP than me and the Bulldog, they're probably going to be kind of passive because they're a tier 6 and a tier 7 versus two tier 8s. So I'm expecting that I'll probably have to take the initiative. I don't want to just push through the middle of the map though, so I decided to start heading toward the north. I'm thinking that if I can get to that corner around C5 or B6, that if the Challenger or Sturv are near where they were last spotted, then I might be able to catch them by surprise and take them out. And I also tell the Bulldog in chat to try to use me as bait. I'm thinking that at the very least if I can just find the Challenger or Sturv, then I can distract them while the Bulldog flanks around and takes them out. And regardless, I want to make sure that I'm the first point of contact, because if the Bulldog gets killed without me being able to do anything about it, then I'm in a really tough position having to deal with two tanks that are faster than me. So I get kind of caught out in the open here. The Sturv pushes into D6 and catches me in the side, but he only hits me once, and I get one shot into him in return, and then the Bulldog hits him a couple times as well. Now, he's not turning to run away, so I want to push forward and try to take him out. I don't know where the Challenger is, but I really want to get this kill as quickly as possible while the Sturv is kind of isolated. So I take out the Sturv, and the instant I get the kill shot, the Challenger gets lit in F4 trying to flank us. So I turn around and back up into cover. Now there's not much I can do in this situation. The Challenger looks like he's going to go for the Bulldog on my team. And fortunately the Bulldog does take one hit but manages to get the kill on the Challenger. So there's the end of the game, and now I'll show you the post-game stats. I got an ace tanker for this game. I did about 5,200 damage and got 7 kills. It was kind of a hectic game, which isn't really all that unusual for Kharkov games. As I've talked about before, games in Kharkov tend to develop really quickly. But I think this was probably the best game I had with the AT-15, so I wanted to post it, and hopefully you guys picked something up from watching the replay and from some of the commentary. It's not an easy tank to play, and it can definitely be frustrating in a lot of matchups, but I felt like in this particular game I did a pretty good job utilizing the DPM and armor, and the game ended up being pretty exciting as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.